don't think I know anyone that's like in a open relationship where both parties are, doing their own thing. It's more of, I'm allowing you to go out and do what you want to do, but I just don't want to hear about it. Like, I don't want to know what you're doing.
That's so U.S. military of them.
Yeah.
Rick Pfeiffer, broker and owner of Vintage Homes Realty, has been helping the Tampa Bay area and LGBTQ plus community achieve their real estate goals for 20 years. Former chapter president of the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. After nearly 500 successful transactions, he has the knowledge, skills, and results you want when buying and selling a home. Tampa Bay's LGBTQ plus community is thriving, and we're back to bring you even more real talk, fresh perspectives, and fabulous conversations because it's time for another episode of The Skittle Squad.
Yeah, it's our second episode. So the first episode went really well, and now we're back for more. So we're going to be talking about some hot topics, and we're going to have a special guest to talk to, local events, all sorts of stuff on this episode.
Yeah, we have an incredible guest. Her name is Abby Nix. Welcome, Abby.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you on board with us. Why don't you go ahead and give everyone a quick introduction?
Yeah, so I am Abby Nix. I'm a third generation Tampa local, which is kind of unique. I was adopted when I was really young, but my whole family's from here. I'm the producer, director, and lead singer of the Emo Cabaret, the most up-and-coming emo premiere event for the LGBTQ. Our March 27th show is our fundraiser for Project No Labels. What are some other things? I was a former Miss America and Miss USA contestant, and I'm soon to be everybody's favorite Pan Poly Princess.
Yay!
Tell us a little bit more about that before we dive into hot topics.
Yeah, the Pan Poly Princess.
Yes.
I am a believer that relationships and attraction should be to people who are nice to you and should not be dictated by what they have going on physically. I think that if somebody treats you the right way, that probably should speak more to how you receive them in your life than anything else. Not to say that I haven't been a victim of the toxic man. Not to say I haven't been there, done that. But I just, in general, I think that what I'm looking for is not a specific person, but it's a feeling.
Okay.
It's connection, and I think it's what everybody wants, to be loved, and to be loved is to be seen, understood, heard, and validated in your day-to-day life, and to do that for other people as well. So.
Wow, that is really powerful. I think I almost shed a tear there. Wow. Okay. I'm not on my period, I swear. Okay.
Wow.
It might be.
Okay.
I love that, though. Yeah, the passion that you have for that. And I think it's hard to express that sometimes into words. When you hear certain terminology like that, it's like, well, what exactly does that mean? And you just like put some really great words around that. So thank you.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when you have different terms within our community, they're like I think one of the questions that we would get from a viewer is, what's the difference between being pansexual versus being bisexual? So how would you distinguish between the two?
Yeah, so I actually spent like a decent amount of time with my therapist, like kind of working through this to like fully understand where I'm coming from. I think that pansexuality has less to do with the binary. Obviously bisexual too. It's more of like the belief in like into women and men, but I don't know if that really encompasses trans people. And I personally I don't really mind like what the combination is, There's so many, especially as a woman, there's so many different ways to experience pleasure in this world. And as a polyamorous person, there's so many different ways to experience love. So I really don't like to, close myself off to like binary representation. Not that there's anything wrong with it or that there aren't people who are, trying to figure out that distinction, and it's going to be different from every person, even day to day. But for me personally, it's just, I feel like pan is a lot more inclusive, and so I just lean more towards that. And I think that their flag is prettier. I like their colors better.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. It's so interesting when you think about the gay community and then you think about this aspect of, what is it, the pan poly princess, you know, it's just so different.
It is different. I mean, when you think about, you know, when we were growing up, we didn't have all of the other terms that we have today. So I think the fact that we have, you know, people within our community that are kind of broadening that, I think is great. And I think, you know, I just think it's fantastic. And I'm sorry. I have to say, I am fangirling over you so bad right now because I have been to Abby's show before, and it's such a great experience that I would encourage anybody who wants to see her live and performing to definitely do it because it's a great show.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm embarrassed.
Oh my God! Yeah,
No,
you're
please,
blushing
I'm
just
eating
a
it
touch.
up. I'm eating it up. I'm going to go home and think about it for the entire rest of the night.
Well, we've accidentally just dived really right into our first hot topic. So when you think about relationships and you think about challenges that they bring, a big component of the gay community right now is open relationships. Or there was a show on Peacock that came out recently, was Couple to Thruple. So what do you guys think about that?
I love being a unicorn. I love it so much. I probably, maybe if my parents had said they were proud of me like more than they did, I wouldn't be like searching out married couples, but I love a married couple. I love a married couple that wants to pick me up and take me out and get me a couple of espresso martinis, you know, kick the tires, see what's going on, just to like see what's happening. And then like the entire experience, or at least from what I've experienced, is just all about me. And that might be like the Leo moon where I'm just like, oh my God, you both want to see me come? That is so hot, So, I mean, I love it. I love ethical non-monogamy. I think that if it works for you, it's awesome, especially because like you're calling into question, like, what do we consider to be ethical non-monogamy? Like, how do we navigate that? And I think it actually calls into question, even for people who are monogamous, what does an ethical relationship look like? And it like opens the door for a lot of these conversations that it's kind of like one of those things where if you've grown up in a very sheltered environment and you're like, well, there's no way that could possibly affect me because I'm not a part of that community, or I don't identify that way, or I'm very traditional and I'm a girl who wants to marry a boy and wants to have 2.1 kids and the dog in the house and picket white fence. How could that possibly apply to me? Well, it's like, well, how do ethics apply to your relationship? That's what we're talking about. It's what are your boundaries? And it's opening a conversation of, I'm comfortable with this, but I'm not comfortable with that. And then how your partner respects that and shows up for you and vice versa, no matter what your relationship looks like.
Well, that's going to require communication.
Oh my God.
Well, for sure. I mean, so I'll speak as the only married person on the panel here.
Thank you for the reminder. I am single.
Because some people are still trying to find their Prince Charming. Nobody, Anyway, as the only,
what are you giving me the hand for?
So
I have no idea what's going on right now.
As the only married person in here, so my husband is very much the traditional person. Like he's very, very, I want to be monogamous. There's not going to be any openness to our relationship, so on and so forth. And that's what I signed up for. So, but I do have a lot of friends that are in open relationships. And I also have friends that have been involved in thruples before. I'm not the judgmental type. So as long as you're doing what makes you happy and there are clear boundaries.
Yeah, I think, again, it comes down to the communication.
Yeah, there are clear boundaries, and I think it could work.
Have that open communication. Hey, these are the limits. Hey, this is where, I draw the line. This is what you can do. And then in those situations, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, that jealousy component can come into play. So maybe the couple initially, when they meet you, they're excited. They're like, whoa, this could be great. And then all of a sudden, one person might like you more than the other person thought they were going to like you. And, you know, you have that jealousy component. So have you ever had to deal with anything like that before?
The jealousy component, not really.
Oh,
Typically, the couples that I interact with are usually a lot more experienced.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Than I am in that realm. So
Yeah.
they're very comfortable. They're very understanding. I have a friend who is seeing a couple as well. And the wife was like, okay, you have to let me know if he ever messages you outside of our group chat. And he did. And she was like, he did. And she was like, oh no. I'm waiting for the update on that myself. So I'm sorry to leave that on a cliffhanger. I know, I'm terrible.
Now we're going to have you back on the show so we know what happens.
Now you have to. But yeah, no, so I'm also waiting on the update for that. So I don't know what's happening with that.
So nothing is off limits, right?
For the most part, yeah.
So how are you meeting these couples?
Oh, dating apps.
Oh, just on dating apps?
Yeah, dating apps,
Okay.
the Gin Joint.
What's it called?
The Gin Joint.
Oh, I never
CW's
heard-
Gin Joint
Oh, okay.
in downtown.
Oh, it's an establishment. Okay. Okay.
The Castle.
Okay.
Spookeasy.
Okay.
You know, just like around.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you know where to go, you know where to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's also just like anywhere you go, like in general, you know, you never know. You just you gotta put the right feelers out there, you know?
Yeah, I think a part of it is just your being open and your body language and, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know when you and I first met, we actually met at a balance event.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I can't remember where we were at. It might have been at Eddie V's, actually.
Del Frisco's.
Oh, okay. And it was like, you're so open and friendly and you're so easy to talk to that I was like, oh, you know, she's really cool. And I already, in the short amount of time that we've been on the podcast, I've already learned so much from you. So
thank you.
So thank you so much because, you know, I'm not, at least my world and what I've experienced is completely different than your world and what you've experienced. And you bringing that young, fresh perspective into the conversation is like really super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
and
like
I think
so nice
really
to
to
hear.
kind of like curtail off of what you said, I feel like when you said that, it was like a breath of fresh air just came into the room. It was kind of like, whew, it just cleared maybe the old stigmas or maybe the old, like, you know, stereotypes that we have in our head with our demographic or our age. So yeah, it was really refreshing to hear. It made me feel very like relaxed and calm. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so great. So, Paul, thinking about maybe the older gay couples, the ones that are open in their relationships, I mean, what do you see? Are you seeing them happy? Are you seeing them eventually like separate?
Well, the people that I know that are in open relationships, and I don't want to reveal names, obviously, but most of them are like in a situation where it's like, okay, you're allowed to go out and play, but I don't want to know about it.
Okay.
Type thing. So it's like a don't ask, don't tell type situation. So I don't think I know anyone that's like in a open relationship where both parties are, you know, doing their own thing. It's more of, you know, I'm allowing you to go out and do what you want to do, but I just don't want to hear about it. Like, I don't want to know what you're doing.
That's so U.S. military of them.
It definitely
Pop
is.
off, quiet kings.
That is so funny. I really think we could probably talk about this for a very long time, but let's switch up to a new hot topic.
Sure.
Paul brought this up earlier, and I was mortified because I thought to myself, oh my God, am I this person? Maybe I am this person because I had never heard about this before. DFF.
Yeah.
So apparently this is designated fat friend.
Yeah.
So Paul, tell me about that. This apparently came up recently for you.
So this came up over the weekend, and I have a friend group that we hang out with pretty much and do everything together. It's 3 other couples. And we're getting ready to go on vacation. And so we decided, hey, we're going to go shopping this weekend to shop for the trip, so on and so forth, which, you know, I'm a shopper anyway. So I was like, yep, count me in. And Rick will always, I'm kind of getting off track here, but Rick will always, again, with the eye roll, because he's like, you don't need any more clothes. And I'm like, yes, I do. Build me a bigger closet. So I'm carrying around, 5 or 6 bags or whatever of stuff. And all of my friends, they're talking to each other and they're like, oh, well, we need to find jeans because we don't fit in our jeans anymore. And now I'm down to a size 28 waist or I'm down to a size 27 waist. I'm like, bitch, please. I'm like, I have not seen a 28 or a 27-inch waist since I was in high school. I'm like, y'all, you skinny bitches. So I'm like, okay. Then I came to the realization, I'm like, I'm the designated fat friend. I'm like, I am the fat friend of the group.
Well, first of all, let me just say you're not fat.
I am fat.
And that if you were, we would still always love you. But just thinking about the gay community in general, I mean, the stigma of to look good, to look young, to look thin, to have the right clothes is so important. How does that make you feel? How did that make you feel at the time?
So I think once you hit a certain age, you don't care anymore. Like I'm to the point now where I'm like, you know what? I love myself.
I love that. Yeah.
I embrace my fluffiness. I am what I am. And, I'm not going to change for anybody. So, like I said last week, if I want a fucking cheeseburger, I'm going to eat a fucking cheeseburger. Like I'm not going to starve myself or, exercise or be in the gym 24/7 to live up to a stereotype of what the gay community thinks is the perfect guy.
Yeah, like you guys are cutthroat.
Yeah, I'm just not, and they are. They're brutal. Yeah, brutal for sure.
Like, could not be me.
Yeah. The male gay population is very, very brutal and very judgmental, and they do look at what you're wearing. They do look at what size you are. They do look at how young you look. I mean, it's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
So. But like I said, now that I am 58 years old or going on 58 years old.
Which is still crazy to me because you look 40.
Well, thank you. I just don't care anymore. Like, this is who I am. If you don't like me, you don't have to, hang out with me. I'm fine with who I am. So, and it takes a long time because, when I was younger, I went through anorexia. I went through bulimia. I had eating disorders.
Okay.
So I know what it's like to have body image issues. And it took me a long time to get over that. And I still have, periods where I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fat. And I still say it, now. But it's like it's pounded into your head when you have an eating disorder. It's like no matter how thin you are, I could be 28-inch waist, 27-inch waist. I would still think I was fat.
Yeah.
So it's something that is ingrained in your mind, and it's really hard to break that cycle.
Oh yeah.
But once you do break the cycle, then you're like, you know what? I love myself for who I am.
Right.
It's definitely a journey for
now,
sure.
Abby, you're working with performers all of the time. Is there any type of, I'm sure, issues in your community like that also with maybe eating disorders or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that across most performance communities, you see eating disorders. I don't have an eating disorder, but I do have I don't want to say suffer from, but I have kind of the reverse of it where I have disordered eating, where I'm just not very good at feeding myself, period. There's not a driving factor where I'm trying to meet a self-image or trying to use it as a controlling factor in my life. It's I get overwhelmed and then I can't eat. I can't bring myself to take on the sensory experience of food.
Wow. Okay.
Which is a little bit different. Oh, sorry. I do think that, I think that women and gay men are probably hand in hand on this one, constantly being scrutinized, constantly being compared to one another. And if anybody out there has an eating disorder right now that's listening to this, some fun little things. First of all, World War III is coming. Eat the cheeseburger.
Right?
You never know when it's going to be your last one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Eat the cheeseburger because you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's coming down the line. The world could end. You really want to end your life and you're looking and the asteroids coming at us or the bomb or whatever, and you're like, damn,
The celery looks good.
Should have had that taco.
Should have had the steak. Should have had the mashed potatoes. And then also, if you are a performer, food is fuel. You have to fuel your body. Like you can't run on nothing. It's not sustainable. It will cause long-term problems. And listen, if you're somebody has an eating disorder and like self-image is really like one of the driving factors, if you don't eat food, you will lose your hair and teeth.
Wow.
Your skin will deteriorate.
That's exactly right.
You will fall apart in another way. So like, yeah, you might be skinny, but like, is it worth also like having your hair fall out in chunks at a time? Is it worth losing your teeth? Is it worth the other, kidney failure, liver failure, heart failure? Is it worth having, being dizzy? And I know that there's a lot of different levels and a lot of nuance that goes into it. But, you have to remember that at the end of the day, food is fuel. And also like one third last prong of this for me personally, rich people, usually a little fuller, because it means they have access to food. So like, yeah, you could look super skinny, but you're going to look super broke. If you're trying to find like funny little things to hold on to like, it's like maybe this little thing will click that like somebody hasn't said before. A fuller face is more youthful. A fuller face is somebody who has access to food. Like people in other countries who may not have the same level of access as us, they're going to have like those more like hollow faces. They're going to be more chiseled. They're also going to look a little older.
Right.
Like body fat is healthy. It's good for you. And especially if you're somebody who not grew up, but has like white ancestry, that's just your ancestors storing it in case there's another famine.
Right. I think at some point in the past, if you were rich, it was a status symbol to be fat. Yeah. Like everyone wanted to be fat.
I was just going to say, like in the Bahamas, if you go to the Bahamas and you notice, like you'll go to, there's a straw market in, I don't know if you've been there before, but in Nassau. If you have weight on you, they will swarm to you because to them, that means you have money.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you're bigger in stature and it's royalty.
Well, that explains why they always come flocking over to me.
Right? So I mean, I guess the moral of the story is embrace who you are, regardless of what size you are. And if people are criticizing you because you're not the right size or you're not wearing, the latest designer fashions or,
that happens. No, I'm just kidding.
Or you're just not in the gym 24/7, then they're not your friends. Surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you instead of push you down.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. You want a high vibration. You want your group, your core group to be high vibration. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to go into a diatribe about this, but people do end up surrounding themselves with lower vibrations and it will bring you down. So it's easy. It's easy to do. So stay off of the media, stay away from that and keep your vibration high.
But just to bring up another point, so you did mention Ozempic, and I'm pretty open that I was on Ozempic for, I would say probably 6 or 7 months before I decided that this is just insane. I just don't want to do it anymore. Because number one, you're injecting a chemical into your body that's not natural to what your body is. And there are side effects to using it. So you lose muscle mass. I always like to call, like some of my friends have Ozempic butt because they have no butt now. I mean, it's like they lose the junk in the trunk.
Robbed.
And I'm like, you want to keep that. People like the junk in the trunk.
You want your butt.
Right. So I'm not faulting anyone who elects to go that route because everybody's got to do what they feel like is good for them. But for me personally, I elected to get off of it because I didn't want to lose the muscle mass. I didn't want to inject something unnatural into my body. So that's
totally
just my
agree with you
personal
on
opinion.
Any other final thoughts on this before we jump into our final hot topic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm nodding my head as if I don't eat Dyson Dino Nuggies every night for dinner. I don't even know what's in those. I'm like, yeah, definitely don't put strange chemicals in your body. If I'm going to go home to like frozen
unfortunately,
chicken
we live
products.
in America, so we are just getting them.
Yeah.
It's just so sad. Anyway, we could talk about that for a long time. But I do want to quickly mention the Watermark Wonder Awards actually were February 28th. They were hosted by Veronica Fox. She was the winner for favorite local performer for drag queen. We might be hearing her name again very soon.
Maybe.
So very, very exciting. Stay tuned. But what do you guys think about the awards and how they're in the community?
So for me personally, I like them. I think it's a good way for people to vote on things within the community and to,
Yeah.
I think it's really a positive experience. So I think it's great when you are able to get local recognition for something, especially those categories like activist and best performer for Veronica, best drag performer for for
There's a lot
Veronica,
of focus on businesses, LGBTQ+.
by the way, is well deserved. I mean, she totally rocks. And hopefully, next year maybe we'll get a nomination.
I don't think we'll get a nomination. We're just going to win.
For a Wonder Award? Hey, that would be great.
Aim high.
Yeah, nomination/win. But, I said it here. You can mark down the date.
Okay. We'll make sure that we refer back to this episode.
Yes, for sure.
when we get the
Prediction
award.
made.
Yep.
So, Abby, we want to get to know you a little bit better. I know you're working on so much right now. Just tell us what you're currently working on, what you're most excited about right now.
Yeah, so I'm working on quite a few projects. Obviously, the biggest and most important one that's coming up the soonest is our March 27th Tampa Pre-Pride edition of the Emo Cabaret, which is a fundraiser for Project No Labels in support of their mental health outreach program called Dear Self, You're Worth It. I believe they partner with the Cypress Wellness Group on that one. So I'm really excited. I really believe in their mission. As somebody who goes to therapy twice a week and has struggled for a long time to have access to therapy, I could not find a cause that I believe in more or a group of people that I'm more happy or honored to work with to accomplish that kind of a goal. I'm also volunteering with Cordero Music, the bassist and the band manager for my show. She has a nonprofit that focuses on youth bands and musicians, singer-songwriters. She does a battle of the bands and 2 music festivals.
Exciting.
Yeah, so in Lakeland in April, she has a battle of the bands. In St. Pete in June, she has the Summer Youth Music Festival. And then in the winter, I think in Orlando, she does the Winter Youth Music Festival. And those are open to bands, artists, I think ages like 7 to 18 or 19.
Oh, okay.
And
wow.
there are some kids that get up there and they're 8, 9 years old and they're rocking out. And I'm like, oh man, that old saying that whatever you do, there's a 9-year-old somewhere doing it better than you is so painfully accurate. But I love volunteering with her. And then we've got Holly and I are working with an original band. And so we're working on putting together, not putting together, but recording some original music for release in the fall. We're hoping to submit to some of our own Battle of the Bands and some music festivals at the end of the year. So
are you writing the music or you have a composer? Or?
Oh, I mean, the music's written.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I wrote it with some friends. There's
nice.
one
okay.
of the guys that I actually wrote a couple of songs with passed away back in 2021.
Oh.
And we've been trying to record since 2019 is when we wrote the songs.
Oh, wow.
So we're the group that I wrote them with, they all gave me permission, the blessing to go ahead. We're still going to bring a couple of them in to do some of the work with us. They're actually in Canada, so here's hoping we don't end up in an actual war with them and we are cut off contact from one another. I would hate that. But, so we're going to record some music, but the Emo Cabaret is what's coming up. It's a 6-piece live jazz band show that features vaudeville-inspired acts, so everything from aerialists and burlesque dancers to a drag queen host. And all of our songs are pop-punk alternative covers played by the jazz band, so it's we try to do one of every subgenre of emo music. So we've got divorced dad rock, we've got goth rock, we've got pop punk rock. Oh, that's great. We do a little bit of everything to try to make sure there's something for everyone. And though I have faced a lot of backlash for this and I don't care that I'm facing the backlash for it, there is one Taylor Swift song. I don't care what anybody says. Emo. She's emo. She counts. You can fight with the wall. I don't care, but it's just such a fun show. Everyone has a great time. It's very therapeutic to get to go sing those songs in a big room with people. And I think it's funny because I never really truly came out to my family, but I am a Leo moon. And so I think it's super funny that multiple times a year I just come out on stage surrounded by half naked women. It's like it's like so Leo mood of me because it's I don't know if you guys are into like astrology or if you know a whole lot, but your moon sign is kind of like your internal. It's like who you are at your core, and so Leos are obviously like very attention centers. You know, like they are the sun. Like the universe revolves around them.
Just getting into this right now.
Yeah, and so you know, I think it's so funny that like 5-6 times a year, I'm like. So you guys, I don't know if you knew this, but part of the vision was that I wanted to see these boobies too. Welcome to my fever dream.
That is great. Oh my gosh, I love that. It sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
many different types of performers and music. Wow.
I can, you know, again, I've been to the show before and it's just, it's so different and such a variety of different performances and they're all just outstanding that it's well worth the price of admission to go in and see it. And, you know, Abby just kills it every single time she performs. So
Thank you.
You know, it's definitely worth it if you you know, want to go on the 27th for sure.
Yeah. Hear me sing my songs.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a lot of back end logistical work. So what does the everyday look like for you? Is it different every day?
Oh, yeah.
Who are you working with? Like, how are you navigating all of these projects you're working on?
It's a nightmare. it's a nightmare. Yeah, no, I never thought I was a type A personality until I started doing these. And then like people take like a day or like 4 days to respond. And I'm like ready to like light my car on fire and protest.
I don't know what that's like at all.
This sounds like someone I know.
No, David. I mean, getting him to respond to stuff is like,
Yeah.
great. It drives me up the
I
wall.
respond within 24 to 48 business hours.
48 business. So like 5 days, 5 business days, eight business hours, 48 of them. No, it's crazy because there's so much that you like wouldn't think would go. I mean, you might think it would go into it, but I mean, everything from finding a venue to hiring the staff for the venue, because you got to get your security. And if it's not somewhere that has bartenders, you got to get bartenders, you got to get people for the door, you got to get sound and lighting techs, you've got to get people for merch or anything else that you're going to do. You got to get all the contracts together. We have 5 burlesque dancers and a drag queen. So I have 6 performers in addition to myself, plus the band, which is another 5 performers because it's me plus 5 makes the 6.
Right.
You know, selecting the songs. I luckily have Holly Cordero. She's the most incredible human being I know. She's so patient, so kind. She's a teacher, so like I think she just has that innate ability. But she, you know, we go through and we hand select all the songs, and then she writes all the sheet music for it. You have to organize rehearsals, and then you're doing the marketing. So then I work with All Access Geek. They're our custom graphics team.
Okay.
And so they put together graphic bundles for us, and then you got to get them to everybody, and then you got to get everyone to get you their stuff in time because you've got logos.
And you're doing all this on your own?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No wonder why you go to therapy twice a week.
Yeah. And that's not even the 9 to 5,
Wow.
but, you know, and that's like a whole nother thing. So
Wow.
there's just, and then you're coming up with marketing strategies, marketing plans, you're allocating marketing funds. You know, we're trying to do like these many paid advertisements. We're running A/B testing on ads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you know, obviously not Twitter because I'm not an incel.
Right.
You know,
I hear you.
you know, and so I know there's people on it. I'm no tea, no shade, but just, you know, not my thing. And so, you know, YouTube channels, you know, coming and doing stuff like this, partnering with Project No Labels, partnering with the Food Not Bombs Tampa chapter, like making sure that every step of the way we're doing something. It's not just for me. It's not just for the show. There's like a broader extension of everything that we're doing. So there's a lot of moving pieces. It's usually about 4 to 6 months of buildup for me to do a 2.5 hour show. And I want to drive my car off the Sunshine State Bridge.
Oh, no.
No less than 4 times a day. Trying to like balance, and then vocal lessons, band rehearsals, dance rehearsals.
Wow.
You know, there's just so much that goes into it. And
Do you set aside free time for yourself to maybe meditate or do some Zen work?
Yeah, kind of. On the weekends. So my weekends are a little bit more structured, and I'm trying not to like dox myself. But usually I'll do 2 hours of cardio Saturday and Sundays, usually an hour and a half on the stair climber and then 30 minutes of swimming laps. And then I'll shift into the studio that my gym has, and I'll do a full run through of the show, and I'll go through like what kind of movements, what kind of lines I want to create. Then I go grab a pub sub, and then I go home and I shower and I go out onto my patio. I water all the plants. I hang out with my girls and my guys, all of their
that's
little
so
leafy
cool.
friends. And I journal and I look over my calendar and it's by accident. I didn't mean to do it. I just kind of like started doing it because I was really poor and I had nothing else to do because I had no money. So I was like, oh, I'll just go to the gym a bunch. And then because I'm a singer and I work with the Tampa Opera director. I do not work with the Tampa Opera. Well, I do content for them, but I work with the Tampa Opera director. Her name's Melissa. She does voice lessons and I've been working with her since like 2018 or 2019. So I always knew that like cardio was a really important facet in being the strongest singer possible. So it kind of just started like I had nothing else to do. I knew I wanted to be a stronger singer. So I just started doing a ton of cardio and then it just like snowballed into what my weekends are now. This weekend's kind of fun though, because I am going to the Tampa Opera's Don Pasquale, the Igor rewrite that they did for it. And then I'm going to the Orpheum's emo night to go promote the show afterwards.
Oh, fun.
So, sometimes I get to do fun stuff like that, but I don't have to pay for it.
Nice. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So where can people get tickets to the event?
Yeah, so Eventbrite is where we do all of our ticket sales. We are not going to be doing day of door sales. So you do need to purchase your tickets in advance because there's not going to be any way for people to take money. It's a cashless venue. So you also need to remember to like get your 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s for the performers prior to the show. But if you go on Eventbrite, the Emo Cabaret Tampa Pre-Pride Edition, you can find your tickets there. All of our early bird sales are over, so tickets are $20 now, and they will be $25 the day of. So we definitely recommend getting them sooner rather than later. And I think we have about 10 tables left for sale as well. And those include 4 tickets, and you get a table, seats. We're doing some fun little swag for you guys.
Nice.
Deep Eddy is one of our sponsors, so they got us some like really cool little things that we're going to be bringing back. And we usually do like a bowl of candy. Because I want everyone to be like hopped up on sugar for the whole show so that all the videos, everyone looks very excited.
That is so great.
So we're going to do some stuff like that. We have signature cocktails that we're doing with Deep Eddy. We have the Swing, which is kind of like a play on like swingers, because I feel like swingers are definitely LGBTQ coded.
Right.
I don't know if they count, but I'm counting them. And then also because of the song by All American Rejects, and that's a pineapple upside down cocktail.
Oh my God,
Nice.
perfect. Okay.
Nice.
And then we have the Pop Punch, which is a strawberry lemonade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That
and
sounds
that's our
fun.
show.
While we're talking about the tickets and all of that, why don't you just let everyone know where they can reach you on all of your socials?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, you can find me at Abster, and that's ABSTERRRR, like a pirate.
Okay.
Abster, because I'm from here.
Love
And
it.
I was 16, and I thought it was just the most clever thing in the world when I made it. We're on TikTok. It's Abby Nix Pro. We're on YouTube, Abby Nix Productions, I think. On Facebook, you can find me at Abby Ken or the Emo Cabaret. If you try to add me at Abby Ken, I probably won't add you back, but you will be able to find the Facebook event page through that. And then on Eventbrite, the Emo Cabaret Tampa Pre-Pride Edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, let's kind of wrap up. So we've talked about a lot today. What would you say you want to leave the audience with? What would be those big rocks? Yeah. What is Abby's advice for everyone today?
So I told you about my Leo moon, and I'm going to tell you about my Gemini sun.
Okay.
It might be the Gemini sun, or it might be ADHD, or it might just be my inability to pick one thing that I want people to learn from me. So I picked 3. There are 3 things I think that people, if they can learn anything from me, that these are the things that I hope ring the most true and are the most, like, create the most connections for people. Number 1 is when you are the most authentic version of yourself, that is when you're going to attract the right people into your life. Kind of like how you were saying earlier with the vibrations, and, misery loves company. If you want to be a happy person, you want to be a productive person, you want to be a person who makes change, you need to talk about that, because the more you talk about it, the more it's going to push away those people who aren't, and it's going to bring in those people who are. If you're an artist and you need those collaborations to like be the best artist of the version of yourself, you have to talk about your art. You have to be willing to talk about the things that you're passionate about so people can find you. The next thing I think that people should learn from me on the business side of stuff is you have to know how to do everything. You need to be able to put your hand on every single aspect of everything that you want to do, and you need to learn how to do it yourself, even if it's not good, because you need to know the value of what you're trying to create and what it would take for other people to come in and do that with you. So like my graphics person, right? All Access Geek, their name is JC. They are incredibly talented. I can do graphic design, but it's nothing on what they can do. And for their price point, they deliver a truly terrific product that you guys will see and everyone will see on social media. They're already all over because they've been doing it for us, I think since May of last year. And so, but I knew that value was very important, and that was something that like I really needed help. Just because I could do it doesn't mean that I should do it. You know, I worked for someone once who told me that you should never own a business that you can't step in and do every single job that you're asking other people to do. If you can't be humble enough to be like, this isn't below me, like to say this is below me, that's ridiculous. It's your business. Every single aspect of this is a reflection of yourself. And so you need to be able to do that for understanding and for like just so everybody has the same sense of pride in what you're trying to accomplish. And then the last thing that I think people should learn from me is to take risks. My dad and I used to talk about this, and he's given some questionable advice over the years, albeit. You know, it's nobody else is going to take a risk for you. And if you're going to take a risk, it might as well be on yourself. You know, if you're going to risk your time, your energy, your money, anything, your connections to people, your name, your reputation, you have to be willing to like make the leap of faith. And if you don't take that leap, like nobody's going to do it for you. You have to be the first one to take the step so that other people can see that you're willing to take the risk for yourself, so they will follow suit and also take the same risks or be able to support you in that risk so it's not as big of a risk. And then that way you're, you know, like I said earlier, World War III is maybe right around the corner. We might get hit by an asteroid. You never know when life is going to be over. You never know when something is going to be your breaking point. So why would you waste time not at least trying at the bare minimum? Like if I die and I'm not as successful as I thought I was going to be, I can say for certainty that I died trying.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Absolutely. And I do think people do get caught up in that fear. And they don't want to die trying. They're just comfortable.
Yeah.
But with World War III potentially coming, get out of your comfort zone.
Complacency is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, when you become inactive, people have heart failure from inactivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is scientific. We have so much research to support this. And that same philosophy should carry over from your heart physically to your heart emotionally to your soul to your brain, to everything. The more you stay active in something, the longer you can withstand it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I love that. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was great. Three great takes.
Yeah. So if you want to hang out with the Skittle Squad and Abby, come to the Emo Cabaret on March 27th, and we will see you there, hopefully.
With drinks in hand.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing I think we'll just wrap up with, I hear that Emo Cabaret is moving to private event model. You want to give a little shout out on that?
We are actually, somebody reached out to us from the Newport Richey Library. We're going to do an acoustic unplugged set for them. But after that, we are no longer doing public shows unless it's for Tampa or St. Pete Pride. We're not going to be doing any more fundraisers unless it's for Cordero Music or Project No Labels. Yep. It's a lot. Like I said, like it's months and months and months and months, and it's draining. And I do have a full-time job, and I do have other projects that I want to work on. So I can't keep doing only this project. But we're not getting rid of it altogether. So you can hire us for your weddings, your engagement parties, all of you emo millennials tying the knot who want to placate your parents, but still get your, 30 seconds to Mars.
Sounds
fill.
amazing.
We reached out. There's a guy with the Clearwater Marine Aquarium that we're looking at doing some events with them.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, the Floridian Social in St. Pete, we've worked with them. So if people are getting married there and they want that like edgy, but still like Art Deco, jazzy, prohibition style music, they can kind of get a little bit of everything with us. So you can reach out on any of the social medias I mentioned earlier. If you send that's the one thing I will respond to you strangers for. If you want to hire the show directly, you can message me for that. I will keep an eye out for those.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Any final words, Paul?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge, huge fan.
Thank you so
So
much.
I will always support Abby and everything that she does because I think she's absolutely incredible.
Thank you. And now I get to be your fan too.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, definitely check all of our socials at the Skittles Squad podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.